Is the mental load causing you to go mental in your marriage? I don't know if that's a good title for the podcast, but that's the way we're going to start it out.
Please, husbands, if you are listening and you're like, I can't hear about the stupid mental load anymore, don't turn it off yet because we're talking both sides. We always try to talk both sides. And I know this is like the hot topic and everyone's kind of, the women are loving it, the guys are getting it. Like we talk both sides. So
And
give us a chance.
if you turn this podcast off, you're going to turn your wife off. So you want to leave this podcast on. We're going to be talking about a lot of good things. We did a podcast episode on this, roughly a little over a year ago, but we have so many people continuously talking about this, and I think it is a lot of an issue for a lot of couples. So we thought,
It's an
hey, let's
issue.
fire out another one. Let's spice it up and talk about this again.
Spicing up the mental load conversation.
Spicing it up, like, yeah,
I
whatever.
don't know what
There's
that means.
many
Yeah.
definitions of spicing things up, but yeah, we'll see where it
I'm
goes.
surprised you wanted to talk about mental load. Nick picked this,
Oh,
so
I
I'm
was
excited to see
dying.
where it
I,
goes.
I was dying to talk about the mental load.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, why don't we kind of explain or share what the mental load is? Because I don't think a lot of people
Okay.
understand it. Like you could look at it and
Okay.
say, well, go, I'm overwhelmed with
Okay.
work stuff that I have and things like that. But there's also the mental load that
hmm
happens within our marriage, like
Okay.
that
There's lots
maybe
of
our
things.
spouse can help create or you know
hmm
help cause conflict. I know in Amy's and my marriage, we talk about this all the time. Just trying to find more balance with things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think women's looks different than men. I think we have this nurturing side to us that men don't have. So I think that's where a lot of women are like, you would have never thought of that. You would have never thought of that. That doesn't even cross your mind. I think that's true. I can explain to that kind of what that looks like, and then Nick will have his 2 cents about
I will have
it.
my $10 worth actually. No.
$10 worth. Woo. Um, okay, let's dive in. We talk both sides. Before I just want to reiterate that because this is not about the your wife has all these things that you don't know about. Like that's not the point of this topic. The point
And
is to
she
help you
probably
kind of
does have a lot of
she
things that you don't know about.
she probably does, and you probably do too. Like we're gonna try and keep this like very fair.
But we're also, we joke about this all the time, and I think this is true in most marriages, is, a wife can look across the room and see a speck of dust in the corner ceiling that me as a man, I'm never going to notice,
Mhm.
ever, right?
Right.
And she can look at that and think, has my husband not got that? Like, why hasn't he cleaned that up? Like, that's been there for a long time. And we as husbands,
You don't
like,
care.
that's the last thing on our mind, right?
Mhm.
So what if there's a
What
speck of dust there?
what is on your mind?
We'll talk
Just
about that
kidding.
later.
Um,
You really want to know?
no, no, not right now. Yeah, I agree.
So
I
we as
agree.
men and women, we've got to be realistic and understand that we think differently. The mental
Mhm.
load's going to look different, and we can't just assume vice versa, whether it's a husband
Right.
assuming a wife, you know, or a wife assuming a husband, or
Mhm.
getting mad that if we don't notice things or look at things a certain way.
So I'm just going to be 100% honest and vulnerable right here.
Be 95% honest.
95% honest.
Yeah. No.
No, I'm going to be 105. Um, I suffer with this a lot in our marriage, is thinking, I mean, mental load usually, if it's bugging you, it's because you're starting to score keep. And that's where things start to mess up intimacy in marriage, right? All kinds of intimacy in marriage. So the minute a husband, and there's like viral posts about this online that are like, the minute a husband sits down and starts scrolling his phone, a wife is like, ah, it's like the first thing to like frustrate her, except for nobody gets frustrated when she starts doing it, right? Like
That's
that's
right.
how it works, right? Is that like
Well,
pretty accurate?
no, yeah, we
Pretty
shouldn't
accurate.
say no one gets frustrated when she does it because a lot of husbands do get frustrated.
No, they do. They do.
But
But
yeah,
I don't think
I know what
like
you're saying.
husbands like go make this huge deal about it unless they're like always on their phone and it's wrecking their into like most husbands are like, I don't care if my wife swipes her phone as long as our marriage is pretty good, right?
Exactly.
Right? Where a wife like a husband sits down on his phone and she's like, do you not see that there's dishes in the sink and that there's stuff on the table and that there's shoes all over the floor? And then I could go list on, right? A husband's not gonna even like you just said, he's
Yeah,
not
for
even gonna
sure.
notice those things. He's unless he's made aware of that by his wife many times.
Which we'll talk about in the episode as well. Your husband is not a mind reader.
Hopefully you'll come back and not attack us on this episode and be like, you guys were honest. We had some good conversations thanks to this podcast. And yes,
I
we
think
talked about both sides. That's our point.
I think there's subjects that you can make light of things. Maybe there's
Mhm.
subjects that you need to be a lot more serious. I think this is a subject you can kind of make light of things because the reality
Really
is,
serious though.
well, it is, but I mean, like the reality is we as men and women are built completely different.
Right.
We are, right?
It's
And
so annoying.
it's so annoying.
It's so annoying. We get that it's so annoying. And we get you wives that you're sitting there like, this is a really big deal. This literally is wrecking my marriage. We get that too. It's literally wrecked our marriage before, okay? Like that was some of the really hard times in our marriage. So let's start over and like say, this is what the mental load looks like, okay? So I am the mom, so I run the kids' schedules. I am putting in things. I am talking to the doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments. I am getting we have 4 kids. At one time, they were all in 7 teachers. So you can imagine the emails I'm getting.
They were?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like 7 classes, right? Like
Yeah.
junior high, high school, whatever.
For sure. No, yeah, it gets
Okay.
crazy.
Okay. I'm dealing with that. Oh, by the way, I have an orchestra performance this night. Oh, we have a race this day. I have a tournament this day. I'm keeping all those schedules, okay? And I'm not only just keeping the schedules, I am making sure that the payments are made for a lot of those things. The fines at the school or the payments at the school, talking to the teachers about certain stuff. Oh, and then the mental load also as a mom is like, you need to come donate this or help with this or be in charge of this. Like, yeah, I've learned to say no to things because I can only handle so much. But then you add on top of that, like just everything else. Like, oh, the food from 3 nights ago is going to expire. I got to clean out the fridge. Oh, I got to meal prep. That means I got to make a list to make groceries or find some new recipes because the family's complaining that I make the same meals. That's mental load. And then you add on trying to work on top of that, trying to maintain the house on top of that. If you have pets, like there's just a lot of things.
Your husband's needs.
Husband's needs, like it's a lot. And so what we're trying to say is that a husband, he's not going to look at a lot of those things. I don't think Nick's ever cleaned out our fridge.
Oh, I did. Yeah, the other day.
Yeah. Is that your first time?
Yeah,
We've been married almost 24 years, okay?
but yeah, I mean, one
Have you
for
ever
24.
cleaned out a drawer in the kitchen? Like the
Uh,
silverware drawer. Have you ever looked at the silverware and been like, holy cow, like there's crumbs underneath the silverware. I need to take that out and put it in the sink and clean it.
Probably not.
No, that's never happened. Have you ever looked at the dog door and been like, I better wipe that out with Lysol. It's getting kind of dirty.
No, but in all fairness, I do keep your dogs alive because your dog water is always empty and the dogs are like going nuts and
So it's not
I
very
fill it
cool
up
because
and
I fill it up every
they
day.
pretty much dive into the water and they're taking a bath because they're so thirsty. So
Did you notice how he said my dogs? They're not his dogs, they're my dogs, even though he cuddles them. Thanks.
I just borrow them.
My dogs, exactly.
Yeah.
My house. I need to maintain the fridge in the house,
Yeah,
all
your
those
house,
things
yeah.
because it's mine. Okay. You get where this can get a little tricky and this can get a little fighty or arguey in your marriage. And the wife is thinking, I don't understand why you don't see all these things. Let me side with the guys for 1 second, even though I have suffered with a lot of that, okay? They can't read our minds. And which we're awesome ladies, I'm giving you full superpower credit. Like, you're amazing. Like, us women, we carry a lot. We are multitaskers. We are awesome at what we do. We're awesome nurturers. But he doesn't know that I'm dealing with this. He doesn't see all the emails that I'm getting. I could show him, I could try to say, hey, I'm dealing with all this and try to communicate that to him. I could say, hey, the fridge, instead of just being like, I can't believe I'm always the one that has to clean out the fridge. I could be like, hey, Saturday, instead of just working on the yard, do you want to help me clean out the fridge? Or will you take over the fridge and I'll go mow the yard? It takes conversation. So every time I get mad in my mind and I'm like, here I am doing the laundry while he's sitting on his phone, he didn't even notice it. Instead of letting myself being all frustrated, I can go to him and say, you know what? Do you think that we could both get this, this, and this done? And then maybe we could take the time on our phones? It's how you do it too.
And what would I say? Say, giddy up.
You'd be like, sure.
Yeah.
Most husbands be like, yeah, sure, I would love to help you. A good, loving husband is going to say, sure, thanks for sharing your mental load or like kind of like what you're dealing with in your mind, because I would love to be intimate. I would love your mind to be calm. Okay. Now, I know I've rambled, but the days where I find myself starting to keep score, even though it's over little stuff, I think to myself that I've learned to do this. I've had to learn to do this. I wonder what his mental load looks like, because even though we both work, I have given him the responsibility to pay all the bills, to deal with the customer service in this business, to deal with his own stuff. He's dealing with the yard, the sprinklers breaking, cleaning the pool. Every time I'm like, I can't believe I'm cleaning out the fridge, I'm like, oh, he's dealing with the chemicals in the pool. Like there's just some husbands have really labor intensive jobs. Some husbands are surgeons, some are plumbers, some linesmen. Well, like whatever that is, like we all are dealing with stuff. And a lot of husbands are really good at coming home and just being like, whew, work is done for the day.
Yeah, now
I'm not going to talk about my mental load. I'm just going to relax a little bit.
okay, and I
Oh, you
think
want to stop me right there?
well, I just want to interject. I think that's where we do need to talk about that because I think a lot of times men were taught like you don't need to share your feelings. You don't need to bring your problems on on your wife because the last thing your wife wants to do is be dealing with her mental load and now hear all your stuff.
Right.
But we as men are really good at just being like, all right, the stuff I'm dealing with, I don't need to let my wife, I don't need to put more on my wife. I don't need to give her more to think about. I'm just not going to say anything. And so I think a lot of women assume that my husband never says anything. He doesn't have anything he's stressing about or thinking about because
Assuming.
because
You
we
word assume.
because we as men typically hold things in, right? Because that's what we're taught to do is like
Be the man.
stuff's going to be hard.
Be the man.
Be the man. Your wife doesn't need to hear about that. So, you know, for a lot of men, we do have a mental load but we just typically hold it in a little bit better.
Okay, this is where, so I don't ever want to say like yours is heavier than mine, mine's heavier than yours. That doesn't matter. That's the point of this podcast is we both have one. We're not going to compare. The difference is that a lot of the women's mental load doesn't stop at 5 or 6 p.m. That's the difference. Our mental load never really stops because even when we're at night laying in bed trying to, get in the mood or whatever, we're thinking about what needs to happen tomorrow, what the kids have scheduled, what am I missing? I got to run so and so here. At 6 p.m., the mental load doesn't just stop. Like even if you come home from work as a wife at 5 p.m., it's now nurturing, cleaning, nurturing. It never really ends. And I think that's the difference is because a lot of husbands are like, I'm done with my mental load. I can check it off. We have different personalities, right? I can check it off, been at work, taken a little break, and ours never stops. And I think that's just because we're wired different.
I think that's where most of the problems happen with the mental load is exactly what you're talking about. A husband gets home and he's like, all right, I've just had a crappy day. I just need to digest, get my mind off things. And the wife's like, well, my day's not ending. In fact, it might even feel like it's just beginning, right? And he's over there sitting on the couch with a piece of work.
Yep.
And that's where the frustration really gets going. But I think as couples, if you can look at things rather than from his mental load, her mental load, it really should be like just, and we've talked about this before, approaching whatever problem or whatever things around the house or anything as a team, right? And I think if you can approach things as a team and say, what do we need to tackle together? And number two, we have to be realistic, right? Because Amy and I talk about this all the time, and she knows I'm kind of joking with this. But a woman's mental load might never end. Like the checklist might never get done. You could dust that piece in the corner and there will be something else. And I think we as men are, kind of look at things, and I'm not saying all men across the board, but in general, we as men kind of look at things and we're like kind of like prioritizing or what's really important, right? Like it's more important for me to connect with my wife than worry about a piece of dust up in the corner.
Right.
However, for many women, they can't feel like they can connect with their husband until those things are done. But sometimes that list never gets done. And I think we as men sometimes feel like, oh my heck, that list is never going to be done no matter what I do. The point I'm trying to get at is we need to show grace to each other and find that balance because, we as men probably need to step it up and be a little bit better about helping out and noticing things. Wives need to be a little bit probably better about being like, you know what, that piece of dust isn't going to ruin things. My marriage probably is more important than that table that needs to be dusted or whatever, right?
Okay, now be a little really realistic about the piece of dust. That's not what it's about. You're joking, right? When you say piece of dust.
I know. I think for a lot of women, like my point I'm trying to make.
Pretty OCD to be worried about a piece of dust. What he's trying to say is that like the household chores that we see, men could kind of put them back on the priority list where we're like, oh, we can't be intimate until the house is clean, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, and maybe a better example would be like, a couple dishes in the sink, right? We as men are like, you know
You can wait
what,
till
that could
tomorrow.
probably wait till tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Saturday, we'll get them in the morning. I think for most women, they would think, no, that's got to be taken care of now, and this has to be taken care of now.
Some women are not like that, but
Yeah, we're not stereotyping every just men and women, but I think what we're saying is fairly common, right? Women are more in the details. We as men are more like we can read a blog article title and immediately know if we're interested or not. I think women tend to get more down into the details and let's dive into the article and let's read what it's about and let's talk about everything. And, I don't know. I mean,
okay.
we've talked about this before many
Okay,
times.
so I think the problem that couples are having is yeah, these lists or these mental things might look completely different. I think the struggle in marriage is that women like, yeah, he does have his mental load. I have my mental load. My mental load feels heavier sometimes because it never shuts down.
Yeah, for sure.
And the thing is that a lot of the load comes from parenting and running a home. We're not really talking work related mental load. We're talking about like the after work mental load.
100%. Yep.
And that is going to look a lot different for women, like we already stated. But when it comes to mental load and like just running a family and home, I think a lot of that is dumped on the women. I'm just gonna say it. You can argue with me all day
No, I
long. You
think
can
you're
write me
right.
a mean message and be like, that's not true. But
Yeah,
I think most
most
husbands
part.
will say, if they're really being honest and vulnerable and honest, they'll say, yeah, a lot of the home and the parenting is dumped on the wife.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the mental load comes down to is like, you've got your Saturday stuff, I got my Saturday stuff, you've got your work stuff, I got my work stuff. But it's 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. till the kids are gone at school.
How
A lot of it are dumped on the wife.
Yeah,
and that's where the social media frenzy has gone with this whole women have this big mental load and men suck. They don't suck. It's just that we have been not we're just wired to take care of so many things. And now with like all the talk about it, it's coming to light and we're like, we're tired of this. We're fed up. And the problem isn't because men aren't willing to do it, it's because they don't understand it, number one. And we're not having these conversations that are making us more unified in our marriage. That is what it comes down to. Because a husband's tired, a wife's tired, everybody's tired. We've already talked about this. Everyone wants a passionate marriage. Both people want a passionate marriage. There's just something in a way, and a lot of this in the way stuff is called the mental load, yeah. And it's scorekeeping. It's not a mental load until it turns to, I mean, mental load is not a negative word until you start scorekeeping it. Like I have this load that you don't have, and so our marriage is so unfair. This is where this disconnect is coming from.
That's where so much of it happens because now you have a wife or a husband that's thinking, oh my heck, I'm doing
everything
70-80% of the stuff and you're doing 30% of the stuff. And
well, hold on. We've had a lot of people write us, the men that say, I do everything in the home. I do the cleaning, I do the cooking, and I do the majority of,
and I get nothing.
And I get nothing. And so we understand that men, don't get mad at us. There are some men feeling this too.
Absolutely, 100%.
There are some men feeling this
Yeah,
too.
where the wife's checked out and she's just on her phone all the time. Like we hear every scenario. So we can't cover every scenario. Right. Your marriage may look different and that's fine. But in general, we're talking about just, again, the mental loads.
Comparison. It really comes down to pride, comparison, and scorekeeping, right? Like those kill marriage.
Anytime you're scorekeeping, if Amy's feeling like, oh, I'm doing 70% of the stuff, immediately we're going to now be opposition, right? We're going to be competitors. And, there's always a winner and loser when you're competing against each other, whether it's the mental load and keeping track of that. Where the shift really happens is where you can start working together as a team and say, okay, what are these things that we need to accomplish? We need to run the kids here. We need to take care of dinner. We need to do this. And then you can come together as a team and say, hey, how do we divide and conquer and tackle these things essentially together? Because there's too much for just me to handle or take on. Right. How do we do this together?
And I think for most women, if their husbands acted like they cared about it, which we always talk about, that's emotional intimacy is caring, right? But husband was like, I care about what you're feeling. I care about what that load looks like in your mind. And I want to talk about it. I want to help. Let me take stuff off your plate. As women, like we have got to step back and be like, okay, like thank you for caring. Thank you for loving me. That's showing love, right? Is wanting to take some of that burden off. How do I help you? Because I care. That's like the first step. Like that means a lot when you are like, okay, I'm going to do better at reading the room. I'm going to do better when I get home at looking around and doing stuff that needs to get done because I live here too. That's really the first start.
Yeah.
Either way.
I agree 100%. And I think you adding to that, you as the spouse, whether it's the wife or the husband, also have to communicate, hey, I could really use your help with this, right? We can't assume that our
Mhm.
spouse can read our mind and know exactly what's needed. Like it's okay for Amy to come to me and say, "Hey, I've got this going on. Kids need to go here. Or can you run them here? Can you take them here? Can you do this with the house? Can you do these things?" And my immediate answer is absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
I'd love to take care of that. I'd
Nick's
love to
pretty
do
great
those
because that's
things.
what he would say.
I would say I'm pretty great, but I would also acknowledge that oftentimes Amy just needs to tell me what we got going on, what needs to be done.
And
And
it's took
so
a lot of years of marriage to figure out.
yeah, the only reason I'm good at this is because she's willing to say, "Hey Nick, we need to get these things done." Because I'm often not going to realize all the things that need to get done.
Okay, so the thing that's causing a lot of conflict is, well, make me a list. Okay, and I know that's a hot topic. If you're on social media, that is a hot topic. I don't want to make him a list. That adds to my mental load. Like I get that when Nick's like, "Well, I'll run to the store for you, but will you hand me a list?" I'm like, "Okay, but now the problem is now I have to go look through the entire refrigerator, meal plan, and do all those things. That those were what were making me tired. It's not actually going to the grocery store.
But let's be real. If I make a list, it's going to look a lot different from your
It is.
list.
So this is okay. I'm just sharing like examples that we've heard from or we've dealt with in our marriage. Like I get that men are like, oh my gosh, it's not that hard to sit down and make a list. Like I get that.
You bought what? Well, you told me to go to the store and make a list.
Yeah, that I know, and
That's
a
happened.
lot of women say, well, he didn't do it right, and that's a whole nother situation we're going to talk about. But when you ask your wife for a list, that's not helping the mental load. That's adding to it. And if you're on social media, you've already heard this. So I'm just wanting to explain it. I just want to explain it. Taking away the mental load means her not having to think so much about one more thing. So if you ask for a list, and I'm not saying that's wrong because you don't know what to get,
Yeah.
that's not wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. But now she has to sit down and figure out what needs to be on that list. So instead, something more like, I'm not sure what you want or what exactly we need at the store. Should we sit down together for 20 minutes and meal plan and kind of figure out what we need in the home?
Or is there anything that you have to have?
Or do
Right?
you
What
want
are
to
the
just send me,
essentials?
or do
Yeah.
you want to just send me and I'll get what I think we need, and then you can't get mad at me after,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, you can,
I
but
mean, that's not going to help. We're trying to create
yeah,
better marriages, right? Not
but
here
I'm
being
teasing.
apart. So when you say, hey, yeah, I'll go to the grocery store for you, but hand me a list. Instead, let's figure out how to be like, well, I'll take, Nick's so good at this. I'm giving you credit right here.
Oh,
Well, he's good at it now. It's been
great.
24 years. We've had a lot of, well, this has been big in our marriage, so we've learned. But now instead of him saying, well, why don't you make me a list? I'll go to the store. He says, I'll take care of dinner tonight and tomorrow night. I'm going to run to the store. Is there anything you would like me to grab also?
In addition to Burger King.
No.
Sometimes.
Sometimes,
Yeah, sometimes it's you're
sometimes he
getting
goes and grabs a hamburger.
sometimes you're getting
But
Burger King.
that is a better way instead of saying, let me add to your mental load, is I'll take care of dinner the next 2 nights. I'm going to run to the store and get stuff. Is there anything else you would like me to add to the list? Then he's taking accountability of, I'm going to figure out what I'm making. I'm going to figure out what ingredients I need to buy. And if there's anything in particular that's on your mind you want to add to the list, this is the time to do it because I'm going to go to the store.
Just get it done.
Okay? And put out the brand. And if you need to send a picture, do it so you don't, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of men that are like, I don't, yeah, like you said, I don't shop. I don't buy anything right. Women, come on, chill. Some different brands are okay to try new brands.
Unless it's toilet paper.
Okay,
Oh, I
so
totally dropped the ball on that.
oh, he buys the cheapest
You
crap. I'm
got
like, you're done.
you
You're
got it's
fired.
just sandpaper or toilet paper. 'Cause I need to use the restroom, not sand the table.
Okay, where were we?
Oh, we can.
The list thing. I just like I'm just trying to explain to the husbands that don't understand the list concept. Like that is why women, and you hear women say that doesn't help. It really doesn't help. It'd be great if you like went through the kitchen, went through the cleaning supplies once in a while, kind of maybe did that on your own and said, "Hey, I noticed that we need some stuff. Oh, I noticed the toilet paper was gone. Oh, I noticed the paper towels were gone. Oh, I noticed the milk was gone. I'm gonna run to the store and grab some more of those things." That's taking the mental load off of her. That is
Yeah.
awesome, guys. That's a
Yeah.
good tip. That's a good tip.
Yeah. It was a good tip.
Do you
I
have a good
love it.
tip?
Lots of good tips, but not applicable to the mental load.
Oh, Okay.
We,
I'm going to show them when you're ready. I'm going to show them
yeah,
that
show,
picture.
show 'em. Yeah.
Okay. So the reason we knew so many couples were struggling with this, and we're like, okay, there has to be a resource to
A
help
better
you.
way.
There has to be a better way, which is why on the new You and I app, youandiapp.com, the new app that we launched, it's literally designed to help you create more balance and harmony in your marriage. So this feature is called the Harmony Home app. There's mental load conversations section and then a task scheduler. Okay, so if you're watching the YouTube, you can see it. Okay, there's the two different sections.
It's legit.
This is in the Harmony Home feature right there. Okay. So if you go to mental load, sorry, it's kind of hard on the screen. You're going to get some different categories. One's home management questions, marriage and teamwork mental load questions, mental load awareness, and home maintenance and upkeep questions. We're going to keep adding to these. It's a brand new feature. So there are conversation cards on this section of the app. Okay, you click on it and you can flip it and write in each other's answers or type in. So if you're synced with your spouse, you're going to answer these questions and they're going to see it in that section. So here's a couple questions that are going to help you really like talk about this mental load issue that you might be having in your marriage. Or if you feel like it's not even a major issue, but you just want to deepen your connection and be more in tune as a unified team in your marriage, these are really helpful.
Yeah.
So, like, first question, on a scale from 1 to 10, how balanced does our household responsibility feel, and why do you feel that way? So, if you want a great marriage, you would ask each other this question, and say the wife is like, I feel like it's a 6. And instead of getting all defensive, the husband says, oh, well, why do you feel that way? And how can I make that better? And vice versa.
We
He
had
might
that
say,
conversation the other night at dinner regarding something else.
we sure
I
did.
said, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling about this? And I was expecting a 10, and she said a 6. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What's going
And
on?
we had a really good conversation.
Yeah.
Yep.
I never
So,
would have known.
so she might say a 6, and she'll be like, "Well, I wish that we were more on the same page with this, this, and this." And then you discuss how you can do that together, right? Another question is, do you feel like we are true teammates in managing our home, and what could we do to improve our teamwork? What is one household responsibility you wish I would notice more, and why does that matter to you? These are great conversation starters to like get on that same page. There's home management questions like, do we plan ahead for home maintenance tasks or do we usually handle things only when something breaks? That's just like these are the kind of conversations that are important. How do you feel about how we divide cleaning and maintenance tasks and what could make it feel more fair? Now, I always use the phrase marriage will never be fair, but it needs to feel fair. And what that means is I might be doing 70% that day. He's not quite doing you know what I mean?
Like a sports team, like there might be a night that I'm just the MVP. There might be another night where Amy's the MVP, right?
Right.
Like you work together as a team, recognizing that you're part of the team, and if the team is successful, there's going to be times that one player or one participant's doing better, and that's the same thing in marriage.
Exactly.
There's times I have way crazier day than Amy, and there's days she has way crazier day than I do.
That's
Fit with
marriage.
that?
That's marriage. Another question is what household tasks cause you the most stress and what could we do together to release that stress? This is mental load. This is how you get rid of the mental load for your wife or your husband. Do you feel like we both carry equal emotional responsibility for our home? Why or why not? What a great conversation. We've been married almost 24 years. I don't feel like this is a huge issue in our marriage anymore, but I still feel like we could talk about every one of these questions right now and our marriage would get even better.
Agreed.
So there's hundreds of them on there. And then the other section is the task scheduler section. And there's a his and a hers. And I just want to add or just show all the different things that you can talk about when it comes to running a home and family.
Who's picking up your dog's landmines?
Oh my goodness, laundry,
anything.
Daily cleaning, deep cleaning, managing kids' schedules, curricular activities, paying bills, budgeting, home repairs, weekly errands, yard work, car maintenance. When you start to list these things, women, you start to realize that your husband does quite a bit that you never even thought of. Because if I started listing, like, it's not just listing out who does more. That's not what I'm trying to say. But when you start doing his and hers, like you're going to do this week, I'm going to do this week, and a husband's like, well, I already do this. I did this with the car, I did this with the yard, I did this. I feel like you start to kind of understand, like, wow, we both do a lot more than we thought we did.
I love Amy so much. I pick up 3 dogs landmines for a week. So you do the math. You have 3 dogs twice a day. You do the math. That's
Would you
over.
rather do that, or would you rather mop the kitchen floors?
I'd rather pick up the dog's
That's what
landmines
I
for you
thought.
because I know that makes you
He's
sick.
complaining about it, so now Saturday he gets to mop all the floors while I
Hold
fix
on,
my
hold
house
on. I
too.
would love to mop the floors if that's what you like. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the kind of conversations you should be having. He's complaining about doing that, and I was like, "We'll switch.
Oh no, no.
We'll switch.
I
We
knew
switch jobs."
I knew that that made you so happy that
It didn't.
oh, it
It
didn't.
didn't. I would
Oh,
rather do that than clean the floors.
oh, see, we're having a great
A great
conversation.
conversation. There was once, I might have already said this, but there was once a video, I think on Instagram or something, some reel, where the husband and wife switched Saturday chores. And he was inside mopping and dusting and sweeping and cleaning kitchen and all this. And
Listening to the Backstreet
no,
Boys.
he's looking out. What? He's looking out the window and she's on the ride lawnmower drinking her Coke, like doing his job.
Yeah.
And she's like, hi.
That's what I'm saying, because you'd be inside listening to the Backstreet Boys, doing all those things. So if we switched roles,
I would not be listening to your crap, but
you'd be rocking out as you're mowing the lawn. Yeah,
yeah.
it'd be good. If we switch roles, that should be dictated though.
Oh, I don't think I could listen to your music, and I don't think you could listen to mine. Anyways, if you struggle with this big time in your marriage, like especially on Saturdays, oh, one more tip. We've gotten our kids involved on Saturdays because that helps
Oh,
our
yeah.
mental load.
No more
Most
freeloads.
people's mental load. Like if you sit down as a family on Saturday morning, and sometimes we are really bad at this. I know my daughter's probably in the room being like, "You're horrible at this."
You're horrible.
There's some Saturdays we're really great at this. Sit down as a family, write everything out that needs to be done, and say, "You get four, you get four, you get four, you get four, I get four." And we go in order. You pick one, then you pick one, then you pick one. This really helped our marriage
Yeah.
and our house cleaning and the mental load because wives, if you're putting it all on yourself, you can't get mad at everyone else.
The freeloading is over. However, are we going to get in trouble for now? Like, oh, these guys
No,
are slave labor in their kids.
No,
Like,
they can do chores to live in our house. But seriously, like women, like you cannot get mad at your spouse or your family for you carrying a mental load if you're not willing to discuss it and share it and try to get help. And that's the problem that I have. And sometimes with myself is that I'm like, you don't get to carry this if you have not communicated about it. That's not fair to him for to carry that and be frustrated at him if I haven't expressed something to him. Like that's only fair. That's how marriage works. You got to communicate.
If you're carrying it when you can drop it, that's your fault, right?
And some things can be dropped, guys. I think the older I get, the more like I can say no to that because I'm tired.
Yeah, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay.
We did that episode. Are you too tired for your marriage? And I think we sometimes need to ask ourselves. We did an entire podcast episode. Are you too tired for your marriage? Are you, some women and some men, are you doing too much in your home for your kids or at work? Are you overloading yourself so that you're too tired for your marriage? That's an honest question.
Yeah, and what we found, at least in ours, is like Amy said, like sometimes things can wait and it's okay. And when you recognize that, you know what, no one died, no one got hurt, the house didn't burn down just because we didn't do these things, then you're like, it takes so much pressure off your life as well too to know like, you know, we can get to that another time. It's not a do or die experience.
Our marriage was more important tonight. We needed to connect.
For sure.
The dishes could wait. The dishes could wait.
Yeah, it is. It's really important.
Your kids' needs can't wait, but the house cleaning and the dishes, those needs those can wait.
Yeah, so if you want to check out a great resource, like Amy said, the You and I app is just awesome. We put this feature in there to really help couples. It's really helped us. We think it can really help you too. And also, if you like the podcast, please consider leaving us a review, a 5-star, and
or write us an email. If you don't like it, then just write us an email and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what we said wrong.
well, we say all the time, like it's funny how so many people don't know our sense of humor or understand kind of the bantering going back and forth, and it's pretty hilarious.
But no, seriously, we want to help. We want to help you guys. And if you have like a question or a comment, and you know that we now do Therapist Fridays, so we interview a therapist on Fridays. Lately, it's been Austin. Hopefully, it stays Austin. He's pretty amazing. If there's a topic or a question that me and Nick haven't covered or we can't cover, Please write us, amy@ultimateintimacy.com. We love your feedback. If there's something we said and you're like, I just don't understand why you said this, write us. Like we answer our own emails. Like we're nice.
We're
Like send us
chill.
an
We're
email.
cool.
We want to help you guys. So like you said, the You and I app is a great resource if you are struggling with the mental load. Like we created it for that reason, so you could start having those discussions because it is a big deal. I'm not trying to make any light of it. It's a big deal.
It
Like
is.
it's really hurt our marriage at certain times, and it's usually from lack of communication.
Yeah. Start talking about it. And like Amy said, it really will make your marriage so much more enjoyable and peaceful and working together as a team. So we always appreciate all of you listening to the podcast. And until next time.